Down to the wire, how close Hillary Clinton could be to clinching the nomination in a busy week of politics. Also, the trial for a former sheriff's deputy accused of killing his partner continues this morning. What we could hear from lawyers today coming up. And flooding hits parts of Santa Fe, leaving some homeowners without access to their neighborhood. Why they say they're still waiting for answers this morning. Good morning. Welcome to KRQE News 13 this morning. Brand new hour. I'm Adam Atchison.
And I'm Kristen Curry. Today is Monday, June 6th.
Toasty weekend out there, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, yesterday was warm. We got back to the 90s here in Albuquerque, and that continues to start this week. So we got to get used to those 90s. I want to start with the Doppler radars. We're still tracking just a few pockets of light rain out across the southeast. Had some of those storms continue overnight, but at this point they're starting to wind down. Still a good amount of cloud cover east of I-25 as well. Albuquerque, some clearing, but a few high clouds overhead as well. 64 is where we're at now. Those northerly winds about 8 miles per hour. And across the state, we're in the 40s, 50s, and 60s in most areas. You'll find those cooler temps up in Alamosa and Taos, 60s down to the south, even 72 in Las Cruces, still the warm spot for the state. But day planner puts us in the mid 80s by noontime. Eventually, we're going to top out near 95 today, warmer than yesterday and certainly warmer than where we were Saturday, but still a spot storm possible. Most of those storms will fire up over the mountains, but we could see a storm or two roll into the metro. For everybody else, it's all about the heat today. Some of us likely to even hit the triple digits this afternoon. So I'm going to break down those temperatures. We'll also go over rain chances coming up here in about 10 minutes.
Meantime, 501 neighbors in a Santa Fe County community are pleading for help this morning after the main road to their homes just got washed out from some flash flooding. This video comes from Robert Candelaria. He captured it Saturday night after a massive rainstorm swept through his Arroyo Seco neighborhood. That's on the far northern end of Santa Fe County. The next day, the road looked like this: divots, dips, ditches, making it nearly impassable for Candelaria and his neighbors to get to their homes. He says the county won't give him a straight answer about whose problem this is.
If it's private property, not too sure. If it's Santa Fe County, not too sure.
It's especially frustrating because just yards away from the messy road is a Santa Fe County Public Works lot with heavy machinery. Candelaria says if his neighbors are responsible for a fix, they'll do it. He just wants some guidance from the county on the issue. News 13 did reach out to District 1 County Commissioner Henry Roybal, but we did not hear back. Happening today, attorneys in the trial of a former Santa Fe County deputy accused of killing another deputy are expected to deliver their closing arguments. Ty Chan is charged with murder for shooting and killing Jeremy Martin following a drunken argument at a Las Cruces hotel. The defense wrapped up on Friday with Chan himself taking the stand, claiming that shooting was in self-defense.
He had a gun in his hand and it was in his left hand. And he looked at me with this blank stare, like he was looking straight through me. I'll never forget that look he gave me.
Following closing arguments, it'll be in the jury's hands. They could convict Chan on anything up to first-degree murder. We'll stay on top of what happens in court today. Also happening on this Monday, Pizza 9 is raising money for the family of an 18-year-old killed in a drive-by shooting in the South Valley. Aaliyah Garcia was with friends last month when witnesses say they saw a car down the road turn its headlights off, and then they heard at least 16 gunshots. Garcia was hit and rushed to the hospital where she later died. 3 participating Pizza 9 locations will donate 25% of their sales from each order to her family when this flyer is presented today. We posted a link to the flyer and more information online at krqe.com and on the KRQE News app. 5:04 now. 2 young boys taken from the Navajo Nation are safe this morning. Meanwhile, state police are looking for the man who they say is responsible. Early yesterday morning, an Amber Alert was issued for 7-year-old Kerwin Gray and 5-year-old Lyric Gray. Police say their mother's boyfriend, Clinton Johnson, took them from their home near the Arizona-New Mexico state line on Saturday. Johnson still at large right now. State police say those boys were found just west of Gallup. They are in good health. Also happening now, Albuquerque police are investigating a shooting in the southeast part of the city. This happened about 3 yesterday afternoon near San Mateo and Gibson. Right now, police say 2 people have been arrested, but neither of the suspects will talk, leading police to believe it was a drug deal gone bad.
Gangsters are shooting each other up, putting the citizens in jeopardy here. This is a great neighborhood, the International District, trying to clean this place up. We don't need idiots like this shooting each other up in the middle of the street when kids are playing around.
Both suspects were taken to local hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries, and the investigation is ongoing right now. Developing this morning, the medical examiner has yet to release findings on whether a deadly crash suspect may have been on drugs when investigators say she killed herself and another person. This happened at about 5 Friday morning south of the Algodones exit. State police say a truck pulling a boat was traveling northbound when it was hit head-on by a white car going the wrong way. Police say the driver of the car, 21-year-old Elena Gonzalez of Albuquerque, was killed. 60-year-old Peggy Christ, who was a passenger in the truck, also died. 2 others in the truck were injured, but police say they are stable. It's unknown how Gonzalez ended up going the wrong direction, but police say she may have been high on drugs. This morning, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are looking ahead to California's big primary. Both Democratic candidates will storm the state with several events today. 694 delegates are up for grabs when voters in 6 states go to the polls tomorrow. In the latest CBS Battleground Tracker poll, Clinton is in a statistical dead heat with Sanders in California, one day before that state's primary. Yesterday, Clinton won big last night in Puerto Rico's primary and picked up more delegates Saturday from a victory in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And New Mexico is among those 6 states holding primaries tomorrow. If you are not sure where you're supposed to go to vote, just contact your local county clerk's office. If you are not registered or a registered Democrat or Republican, or not a registered Democrat or Republican, you're out of luck for this primary. Of course, we're going to be covering New Mexico's primary. We'll have the latest results on air and online throughout the coming days. Later this morning, we could learn more details in the funeral service to mark the passing of Muhammad Ali. That service will be a day-long celebration of Ali's life this Friday in Louisville, Kentucky.
I am Muhammad Ali.
I am Muhammad Ali.
Children from the Louisville area celebrated Ali's message of inclusion at an interfaith memorial service last night. This morning, all over Ali's hometown, mourners are remembering a man who stood for so much in and out of the boxing ring. On Friday, there will be a procession through the city, and the service itself will be open to the public, just as Ali wanted. Ali died of septic shock at 74 years old. Preparations are underway on Florida's Gulf Coast for the arrival of Tropical Storm Cullen. The storm is predicted to hit before heading to the Atlantic today, and Cullen could bring heavy rain and even flooding to that area. Huntington Beach in California is expected to reopen later today after closing due to shark sightings. Yesterday, an Orange County Sheriff's helicopter spotted some great white sharks off Anderson Street on Sunset Beach. As a result of that sighting, as well as last week's shark attack, authorities decided to close about a mile stretch of that beach. Just hanging out there. A bizarre chase leads to serious charges. What authorities say one man did to officers while on this chase that's leading to attempted murder charges today. And a company out thousands after violent protests. What one woman caught on camera setting fire to their merchandise has to say this morning. Plus,
I don't know what happened. We would like to know what happened.
unanswered questions as an investigation continues today. Neighbors say they're concerned after fire destroyed one home, why they're also worried about the homeowner. Just ahead. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to KRQE News 13 this morning. I'm Adam Atchison.
And I'm Kristen Curry. Today is Monday, June 6th.
Starting a brand new week together.
Yep.
Well, I guess it's the first full week of the month right now.
Yes.
But boy, is it hot. It feels like June, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it feels a little bit more like July. We're a good 10 degrees warmer than normal for this time of year. So it's going to be hot today, tomorrow, and as far as we can see. So we got to get used to that. Sunshine's starting to come up. 64 is where we're at now with those northerly winds just about 8 miles per hour. And winds will be more southerly this afternoon, but not bad, about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Our temperatures across the state, go ahead and pick out your neighborhood. More than likely, you're in the 50s and 60s. We have some 70s down there near the southern state line with some cooler temps in the 40s up north in Raton, Alamosa, and Taos. As far as the Doppler radar goes, good amount of cloud cover out across the eastern side of the state. A few pockets of leftover rain from the overnight activity, but that will die off through sunrise. We're still on track for a few more of those spot storms as we get into the afternoon, though. Santa Fe, your hourly forecast looks like this from those 50s we have out there now. Plan on the 70s by lunchtime later today, climbing into the upper 80s. And we'll see a lot more 90s on the map as you get further to the south. I'm going to break down everybody's forecast in that new 7-day coming up here in about 15 minutes.
Kristen, thanks. As you wake up today, investigators are looking into the cause of this bizarre fire in the foothills, and look what it left behind. Crews say they were called to that home near Tramway and Copper in the early morning hours on Sunday. By the time they got there, it was completely engulfed. AFD says battling that blaze did have its challenges because they could hear ammunition exploding inside, and all of the windows and doors were covered in bars. This morning, neighbors say they're worried about the homeowner. They say he was a bit reclusive and was never seen after the fire, despite BCSO saying they did not find a body inside that home after all.
I'm hoping he wasn't home. That's the best possible outcome. But, you know, we don't know.
Neighbors say they always feared that something bad would happen to the homeowner. They say he had been harassed since a home invasion last year when he shot a man to death. He was never charged. Investigators have not said if there's a link between that home invasion and this fire. A SWAT suspect has yet to be booked this morning after an hours-long SWAT situation in the South Valley. According to the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, 20-year-old Dakota Swagger barricaded himself inside a home near Rio Bravo and Isleta yesterday after a family fight. When deputies got there, they say he armed himself with a rifle and threatened to kill them. After hours of negotiation, BCSO says Swagger surrendered and was taken into custody. 5:33 now. Albuquerque police are investigating the cause of a deadly crash that killed one person over the weekend. It happened on westbound I-40 at 2nd Street around 3 on Sunday morning. Police say Carlo Aragon was following a friend whose car was having mechanical trouble. They were going about 30 miles per hour on the freeway. They say that Aragon then hit the back of that vehicle and flipped his Jeep. He and his passenger, Samantha Peralta, were thrown out onto the road. Peralta died. Police say neither of them was wearing a seatbelt. I-25 is now back open to traffic near Socorro as state police work to figure out what caused a deadly crash. Police say a vehicle caught fire after a single car crash that shut down the northbound lanes. One person was airlifted to the hospital where they later died. Developing overnight, 2 members of a national public radio news crew have been killed on assignment in southern Afghanistan. NPR photographer David Gilkey and interpreter Zabilo Tamana were killed yesterday when their convoy was attacked. 2 other NPR crew members were not hurt. Gilkey was an award-winning staff photographer and video editor. In the 15 years since the 9/11 attacks, he returned often to Afghanistan and other conflict zones. This marks the first time in the 46-year history of NPR that one of its journalists has been killed on assignment. In eastern Belgium this morning, at least 3 people are dead and 40 others are injured after 2 trains collided. Officials say a passenger train slammed into the back of a freight train on the same track at high speed. They also say 2 of the train's 6 carriages derailed. Authorities are looking into how that crash happened. A political merchandise company is pushing for a woman to be prosecuted this morning after it says it lost more than $2,000 during the Trump riots in Albuquerque last month. The Political Mint was selling Trump hats and shirts before the riots broke out. They say after rioters broke through police barricades, their stands were ransacked. They say while doing their own investigation, they found this video online showing one of the people who they believe stole their stuff, later burning it.
Definitely put a little scare into me because, you know, being in the Army and everything like that, I've been in some different situations, but that was pretty hostile.
We are not showing that woman's face or using her name because she has not been charged with anything, but APD says she is a person of interest in the case. We tried to reach her to get her side of the story, but she didn't return our messages. On Facebook, though, that woman denies stealing anything but defended burning things, saying she did it because, quote, expletive racism. A man wanted in connection with the murder is behind bars this morning after police say they found him sleeping in a stolen truck. Police say an officer spotted the vehicle near Isleta and Arenal early Saturday morning. When he ran the plate, it came back stolen. 48-year-old Bernadette Tapia and a man who said that his name was Mariano Apodaca were found sleeping inside. They were questioned separately. That's when the officer learned that the man had lied about who he is. According to the criminal complaint, Antonio Apodaca admitted that he lied because he had a felony warrant for homicide. An Albuquerque man facing domestic abuse charges this morning after deputies say he rammed his girlfriend's mobile home with his truck. According to a criminal complaint, Josue Garcia was in a heated argument with his girlfriend in front of her kids. When one of her sons started calling 911, police say Garcia got into his truck, slammed it into her mobile home, and then took off. Garcia is being held without bond this morning because of another domestic violence case involving the very same victim. Some first responders in New Mexico are about to receive some help after the community honored Rio Rancho police officer Greg Nigel Benner this weekend. Nigel's Family Fun Night included a dunk tank, food, games, much more on Saturday. It was all to remember Officer Benner, who was gunned down during a traffic stop just over a year ago. The event was also an opportunity to let the community get to know law enforcement officials.
As I've always said, we want our children to run to our police officers, not from them. So this is a great way to get out here, shake their hand, introduce them, and obviously dunk one of them.
All the money raised at the event will go to the 1082 Foundation, which helps to raise money for fellow officers, firefighters, and military members in need. 537, a Texas man is facing serious charges today, accused of leading authorities on a multi-state high-speed chase. Look at this video. Deputies in Texas say they started chasing the guy at first because he was in a stolen truck towing a boat. Eventually, the truck stopped in Louisiana. The driver was arrested, but it didn't stop there. Deputies say he tried to escape by removing a taser from a trooper's duty belt. This morning, he's charged with 2 counts of attempted murder of a police officer and more because he tried running over officers as they set up spike strips. Nobody was hurt in that ordeal. New video this morning shows the really intense work that firefighters had to do to battle flames at one home in California. Watch. Now, the footage shows a fireman drilling into the roof of an apartment building using a technique called vertical ventilation. The third alarm fire destroyed 4 apartments and displaced more than 30 people. No reports of injuries and all of that, but it shows you the kind of battle that firefighters have to do from time to time to put out flames.